Welcome to the Lincoln Bio Podcast, your one-stop destination for life-changing insights on health, wealth, legal education, relationships, and more. Ready to level up? Let's dive into the knowledge designed to transform your life.
All right, we're diving into Legalese Made Easy. Looks like our listeners really interested in demystifying the legal system.
Yeah, maybe even thinking about self-representation.
It seems like it. This book could be really useful, using rhymes to break down all these complicated legal concepts.
Yeah, it's a really unique approach.
Definitely. And we'll be focusing on the most impactful strategies, especially for someone who maybe doesn't have a ton of legal experience.
Right, focusing on the essentials.
Exactly. By the end of this deep dive, you'll understand some key legal terms and tactics.
And who knows, you might even feel ready to challenge jurisdiction.
Something most people don't even realize is possible.
It's true. It's surprising how many people just don't realize the power they have in the legal system.
This book does a great job of highlighting that. So, okay, the book pushes this idea of representing yourself as pro per, not pro se.
Right.
What's the difference? It seems like such a minor detail.
Yeah, it might seem small, but it really speaks to a larger mindset. You know, pro se just means representing yourself, but it's often used in a way that makes it seem like you're at a disadvantage, like you're giving up some rights by doing that.
Yeah.
Pro per, though, emphasizes that you're appearing in your own person,
Right.
retaining all your rights, and standing as an equal participant in the legal process.
So it's not just about showing up in court without a lawyer.
Right.
It's about confidently claiming your space in the courtroom.
Exactly. And that confidence often comes from understanding the language of the law.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like the different types of courts, common law, admiralty, equity. These can be confusing, but the book uses these rhymes to make them stick.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, it describes common law as the law of the land where precedent commands.
I love that. It's amazing how a simple rhyme can cut through the jargon.
It really is.
And suddenly it's easy to remember what it all means.
They basically act as mnemonic devices.
Right.
So you can remember the core idea even when you're in a courtroom, which can be stressful.
Oh, absolutely. So this tactic of challenging jurisdiction, it sounds pretty intimidating.
It can be.
How does the book make that approachable for someone with no legal background?
It breaks it down into clear steps, focusing on two main types of jurisdiction: subject matter and personal.
Okay.
Subject matter jurisdiction refers to the court's authority to hear a specific type of case.
So like a family court wouldn't handle a bankruptcy case.
Exactly. Different courts for different issues.
Makes sense. What about personal jurisdiction?
Personal jurisdiction is all about the court's power over the specific people involved in the case. It asks, does the court have the right to make decisions that affect you specifically?
Yep.
This can get a little complicated, especially in cases that cross state lines or involve admiralty law.
Which often deals with maritime issues.
You got it.
Yeah.
And you know how to spot a potential admiralty situation.
Is it the gold fringe on the flag?
You've been paying attention. The book uses that striking visual as a red flag to help you realize you might be dealing with admiralty law. It even gives you this rhyming guide for challenging that jurisdiction.
Wow.
Which a lot of people might find themselves in without realizing it.
Yeah.
It says to ask direct questions like, is this court under common law or is it admiralty that you draw?
So it's about demanding clarity and forcing them to justify their authority.
Exactly.
Aside from challenging jurisdiction, are there any other unconventional tactics that the book recommends?
Well, one that might surprise you is the power of silence.
Really? I would think you'd always want to be speaking up for yourself in court.
It seems counterintuitive, but sometimes the most strategic move is to just say nothing at all. Because the book argues that answering certain questions could actually hurt you.
Oh, wow.
Like you could unintentionally waive some of your rights or give the opposing counsel information they can use against you.
So it's like silence can be a shield.
Yes.
Protecting you from incriminating yourself.
Yeah.
It's like that classic pleading the fifth.
Exactly. The Fifth Amendment protects you from being forced to testify against yourself.
Right.
But silence isn't just about avoiding self-incrimination.
Right.
It can also be about controlling what information gets out there. Sometimes saying nothing can be more powerful than saying the wrong thing.
That's a really fascinating perspective. It seems like this book is all about giving you tools to strategically navigate the legal system.
That's what it's all about.
And using those tools to your advantage.
Yeah, and one of the most empowering tools it gives you is the use of legal motions.
Legal motions, they always sound so formal and complicated.
And it can be.
How does this book make them easy to understand?
It uses rhymes, of course.
Right, of course.
And it really emphasizes that motions are your tools to control what happens with your case.
Okay.
It even says, in court, motions are your best tool. They help you steer when things aren't cool.
I have to admit, that's pretty catchy.
Right.
And framing motions in this way, that almost makes them seem less intimidating and more like actionable steps you can take.
Exactly. It helps you see them not as intimidating legal jargon,
Yeah.
but as things you can actually do to shape your case.
So instead of just reacting to what the other side is doing, you can be proactive and really control the direction of the case.
Exactly.
Can you give me an example of a motion that someone might use?
Of course. Let's look at the motion to dismiss. This is how you end a case early if there's a good legal reason to do so.
Okay.
The book explains it like this. If the case is weak or falls apart, a motion to dismiss is where you start.
I love that. I can just imagine being in a courtroom feeling totally overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you remember that rhyme.
Right.
And you realize, oh, I have this powerful tool I can use.
Exactly. It's about understanding how to use it strategically.
Yeah.
Like a motion to dismiss can potentially stop a case early on if it doesn't have any merit,
Wow.
saving you time and money and stress.
It seems like these rhyming explanations could be incredibly useful in a courtroom.
It's all about making these legal concepts accessible and giving people the power to use them.
So the motion to dismiss is all about potentially ending a case early. What if you need more time? More time to prepare?
Then you'd use the motion for continuance. That lets you request more time from the court to do things like gather evidence or talk to an expert or just prepare your arguments better. And of course, the book has a rhyme for that one too.
I bet it does.
Need more time, then don't delay. A motion for continuance saves the day.
These rhymes are so good. They really help break down these legal concepts into easy-to-understand steps.
Right. It's like having a cheat sheet for dealing with the legal system.
So far, we've talked about dismissing a case and requesting more time.
Right.
Are there any other essential motions that someone representing themselves should know about?
Well, one of the most important is the motion for discovery.
Okay, what's that?
This allows you to ask for information and evidence from the other side.
Oh, so you can see what they have on you.
Exactly. You don't want to go in blind. The book explains it with this rhyme. Want to see what they've got on you. A motion for discovery is what you do.
So it's like forcing them to show their hand.
Exactly.
So you're not caught by surprise during the trial.
The motion for discovery really helps to level the playing field.
Wow, this is so empowering. It seems like this book is all about taking control of your legal situation.
It is. It's all about helping people understand their rights and giving them the tools and the confidence to advocate for themselves.
And to understand all the complexities of the legal system.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
I know. There's still so much more to explore. But for now, let's take a quick break and we'll come back to uncover even more gems from Legalese Made Easy. Welcome back. We're still exploring Legalese Made Easy, and I'm so excited to learn more about these unconventional strategies in the book.
Yeah, there's a lot more to unpack.
We touched on legal motions earlier,
Right.
and I just love how the book uses rhymes to explain them.
Me too. It makes them so much easier to understand.
For sure. Can we talk about some more examples?
Absolutely. The book covers a bunch of different motions,
Yeah.
and they each have a specific purpose.
Right.
Remember, these motions are basically tools to help you control your case.
The motion to recuse really caught my eye.
Oh, yeah, that's an important one.
It made me think about what I would do if I felt like the judge was biased against me.
That's a tough spot to be in, for sure.
What does the book say about that?
It reminds you that you have a right to a fair trial, and a judge who's biased can really jeopardize that, right?
Yeah.
The motion to recuse is how you say, hey, I need a neutral person to be in charge of this case.
Okay.
And the book really highlights how powerful this motion can be with this great rhyme.
Let's hear it.
If the judge seems biased and unfair, don't be afraid to take a dare. Ask them to step down from the bench. Recusal's power is mighty and trenchant.
Wow, that's pretty powerful. It's like the safeguard
Yeah,
to make sure the legal process is fair.
exactly.
But what if it's not the judge that's the problem? What if you think the evidence against you was obtained illegally?
In that case, you'd use the motion to suppress evidence.
Okay.
This motion is how you challenge the evidence and say that it shouldn't be allowed in court.
So you're not just passively accepting whatever evidence they present.
Right. You can actually fight back.
You're questioning whether the evidence is even legitimate.
Exactly. It's crucial for making sure you get a fair trial.
So how do you do that? How do you challenge the evidence?
The book lays out a clear process for doing that.
Okay.
Basically, you focus on how they got the evidence. You ask things like, did they have a warrant? Did they follow the right procedures?
Oh, like in those crime shows where they throw out evidence because the cops messed up?
Exactly like that.
So even if the evidence seems bad, if it was obtained illegally, it can't be used against you.
Nope, not at all.
It's a good reminder that the legal system has to follow its own rules.
It does.
And those rules are there to protect everyone. It's so interesting how this book really teaches you to think strategically about the law,
I know, it's amazing.
even if you don't have any legal training.
That's the whole point. It's all about giving you the knowledge and confidence to engage with the legal system.
And to really understand how it all works.
Yes. And a huge part of that is understanding the different types of jurisdiction.
We talked about subject matter and personal jurisdiction earlier.
We did.
Can we dive into those a little deeper?
Of course. So subject matter jurisdiction means that the court has the authority to hear a specific type of case.
Okay.
It's about making sure the case is being heard in the right place.
So like a traffic court wouldn't handle a contract dispute.
Exactly. It's making sure the court has the power to deal with those specific legal issues.
Okay, that makes sense. What about personal jurisdiction?
Personal jurisdiction is about whether the court has power over the people involved in the case.
Okay.
So it's asking, can this court make decisions that affect this specific defendant?
So it's not just about the type of case. It's also about who's involved in the case.
Right. And this can get really complicated, especially with cases that involve multiple states.
Because one state's court might not have the authority to make rulings about someone who lives in a different state.
Right. Exactly.
It seems like a lot of legal cases could really come down to these jurisdictional questions.
They absolutely can. And the book really emphasizes how important it is to understand jurisdiction and how important it is to challenge it if you need to.
Okay.
This is especially important in admiralty cases.
Because admiralty law often has a more complex jurisdictional landscape than other areas of law.
Exactly.
Why is it so important to challenge jurisdiction in admiralty cases?
Well, admiralty law is historically about maritime issues.
Right. Ships and the sea and all that.
But sometimes it's been applied in ways that kind of overreach.
Mm.
The book argues that a lot of people might find themselves under admiralty jurisdiction without even realizing it.
That's not right.
And even if they do realize it, they might not understand what it means for them.
So it's about making sure that admiralty law is being used correctly
Yes.
and not to unfairly claim jurisdiction over cases that shouldn't be under admiralty law.
Exactly. And the book gives you a step-by-step guide for how to challenge admiralty jurisdiction.
Wow. So it really gives people the tools to protect their rights
It does.
and to make sure that the law is being applied fairly.
That's the goal.
It's amazing how this book breaks down these complex legal concepts
It is.
and empowers regular people to take control of their legal situation.
And we haven't even gotten to one of the most valuable things it teaches.
Oh, what's that?
The art of objection.
Objections. Oh, I've seen those in so many movies and TV shows.
Of course.
They always seem so dramatic and important.
They can be. Objections are super important for making sure that things stay fair and orderly in court. They let you speak up when the other side is doing something wrong,
Like what?
like introducing evidence that shouldn't be allowed,
Okay.
or asking questions that are inappropriate.
Or just violating the rules of the court.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So when you object, you're basically saying, hold on, that's not allowed.
You got it.
So they're like these safeguards to make sure everyone is playing by the rules.
Exactly.
Does the book talk about different types of objections?
Oh, yeah. It breaks them all down in a way that's easy to understand and use.
Okay.
It covers everything from hearsay, which is when someone tries to testify about something they only heard about from someone else,
Right.
to leading questions, which are questions that are designed to suggest a specific answer.
It's amazing how these seemingly small details can have such a huge impact on a legal case.
It's true. Small things can make a big difference.
And the book doesn't just explain what the different objections are.
It also teaches you how to use them effectively.
So it's not just about yelling objection whenever you feel like it.
No, definitely not.
It's about using objections strategically.
Right.
At the right time and in the right way.
Exactly.
So you can protect your rights and make sure you get a fair trial.
It's all about becoming an active participant in the legal process and not just sitting there passively hoping for the best.
That's right.
This is all so valuable. But let's be real, even with all this knowledge, it can be really intimidating to face experienced lawyers in a courtroom.
I understand.
What does the book say about dealing with that feeling of intimidation?
It acknowledges that it's definitely a challenge.
Especially if you're representing yourself?
Right.
What's the best way to deal with that?
The book emphasizes that knowledge is your best weapon against fear.
Okay.
The more you understand the legal system,
Mm-hmm.
the less intimidating it will feel.
So it's all about arming yourself with knowledge and confidence.
Yes.
Understanding your rights and the rules of the game.
Exactly.
So you don't feel like you're just going in there blindly.
Right.
It's incredible how this book reframes self-representation.
I think so too.
It makes it feel less like a David and Goliath situation
Yeah.
and more like an opportunity to really advocate for yourself
Yes. And to stand up for your own interests.
and to engage with the legal system knowing what you're doing.
Exactly.
This has been such a great overview of Legalese Made Easy.
It really is an amazing resource.
And I feel like we're just scratching the surface.
We are. There's still so much more to explore.
I know. I can't wait to dive deeper.
Like practical tips for preparing your case and mastering courtroom etiquette.
Oh, that's a good one.
We'll get to all that after a quick break. Stay tuned.
Okay, we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into Legalese Made Easy. We've covered so much ground already.
We have.
From challenging jurisdiction to mastering the art of objecting.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's most impressive about this book is how it makes self-representation feel possible, even empowering.
I agree.
It doesn't make it seem as scary as it could be.
Yeah, it takes this thing that seems so mysterious and complicated.
Right.
And breaks it down into these really clear, actionable steps.
One thing I've been wondering about, though,
Yeah.
is how the book deals with the practical side of things.
Like actually presenting your case in court?
Yeah, like let's say you've got the motions down.
Mm-hmm.
You understand the rules of evidence.
Right.
But then you're there in the courtroom
Uh-huh.
about to speak to the judge.
That can be nerve-wracking.
What advice does the book give for that moment?
It really emphasizes the importance of being prepared
Okay.
and organized and communicating clearly.
Okay.
It encourages you to see yourself as a storyteller, presenting this compelling narrative backed up with evidence.
So it's not just about knowing the law.
No,
It's about knowing how to tell your story in a way that the judge and jury will understand.
you have to be a good communicator.
What tips does it give for doing that well?
Well, it stresses how important it is to outline your arguments really carefully
Okay.
and to think about what the other side might say and how you'll respond to that.
So you're ready for anything they throw at you.
Exactly. It also says you should practice what you're going to say beforehand.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so you can get comfortable with the material. It even suggests using visual aids,
Really?
if it makes sense for your case.
So you can present your information in a clear and engaging way.
Exactly.
It's almost like preparing for a big presentation,
It is.
but with much higher stakes, obviously.
We're way higher. And the book acknowledges that being in a courtroom can be really stressful.
Yeah, no kidding.
So it offers some strategies for managing that anxiety
That was good.
and staying focused, like deep breathing techniques and visualizing yourself succeeding.
So you can walk into that courtroom feeling calm and confident
Exactly. And it reminds you that you have the right to be there.
because you've prepared and you know what you're talking about.
I think that's a really important message.
It is. And honestly, one of the biggest takeaways from this book is that knowledge really is power.
It is.
Because the more you understand about the legal process, the more control you have over your situation.
Absolutely. This book gives you the tools and the confidence to navigate the legal system.
And to understand your rights and how to protect them.
Exactly.
It demystifies the law, making it something that anyone can understand.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what your background is.
It's like having this secret weapon, this guidebook that shows you how the legal system works.
Right.
And helps you play the game strategically.
And the best part is, this knowledge isn't just useful in a courtroom.
It's useful in all areas of life.
Knowing your legal rights and how to exercise them is powerful no matter what.
That's so true. This deep dive into Legalese Made Easy has been amazing.
It has.
And I'm honestly a little sad that it's over.
Me too. It's such a great book.
But we've only scratched the surface.
There's so much more in there to discover.
I highly recommend checking it out and exploring all the knowledge and strategies it has to offer.
I second that.
It's a truly fascinating and empowering read, and I think you'll walk away feeling more informed and more confident and definitely more prepared to navigate the complexities of the legal world.
For sure.
And remember, even if you never find yourself in a courtroom, knowing your legal rights and knowing how to stand up for yourself is so valuable.
It really is.
Knowledge is power, and this book gives you that power.
It does.
So you can navigate the legal world with confidence and clarity. That's all for this deep dive, but keep learning, keep exploring, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Link in Bio podcast. Want to dive deeper into today's topic? Grab your copy now. Just click the link in the description. Stay curious, stay empowered, and we'll see you next time.